It's Judgment Night on Channel 5. Troy Williamson defends his British Super Welterweight Championship against the pretty boy Josh Kelly. Who wins? Find out Friday, December the 2nd, 9 p.m, live and free on Channel 5.
Sarah Judd for Boxing Social. We're in Newcastle here. Delighted to be joined by Sonny Edwards. Sonny, beautiful behind the Christmas tree there. You all good? Feel Christmassy? How are you, mate?
Yeah, it's a good backdrop. Nice view as well here in Newcastle, ahead of the Troy Williamson Josh Kelly fight. Yeah, I'm all good, can't complain.
Talk first of all of that ring there that's proudly on your finger. Just show that to the camera. Talk a little bit about that ring.
Oh yeah, well I mean, it's my IBF flyweight ring. One of the first Infinity Stones that I've had to collect on the journey. I just thought it's fight week for Lyndon, so why not? I'll bring it up. And yeah, somewhere.
Spoke off camera just a few moments ago. Your route, your knowledge, your plan is to stay in boxing for a long, long time, Sonny.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask me what my goal is, and to be perfectly honest, I don't feel like I've worked a day in my life. I'm 26. I've been of independent means since I was 18. So yeah, I guess as soon as I can't really compete and do it at any sort of standard anymore, then yeah, I'll be looking at managing, coaching, promoting, all of the above really. I mean, I should be involved in the first promotion that I'm doing next year, in the first half of next year. So I'm looking forward to that. I already involved in the looking after and managing of a few fighters. So yeah, like I've already started sort of laying the foundations for what I eventually want to grow to be, the full-term aspect of it. So yeah, that is genuinely my goal in boxing. I think all the world titles, I personally think there'll be a few of them. Different weights as well, and all the accolades, the ring, the fight, etc., etc. That's all nice, but as long as I can sort of thrive and, provide for my family and maintain being in the world of boxing, that's kind of like, I guess, my professional goal.
One of the things on that list is coaching, and you've got your accreditation there for coaching. Again, just talk to us a little bit about that, mate. Just have a look at the picture as well, if you put this to the camera.
It looks a bit like a mugshot, doesn't it? Well, I mean, I was sick and tired of having to buy tickets to get in all the shows, so that just gets me in everywhere free now. I just got to start flashing it. Now I'm here down helping out Lyndon. I'm very close to him. Yeah. We speak a lot, and yeah, I think he just wanted to have me around and as close to his corner as possible. So it was always the plan to be sort of helping out Grant and Pierce as well, Grant's assistant coach, and all the lads that still sit in, as well as anyone that I'm friends with or close to that wants me in their corner. If it's just someone scoring, someone giving advice, someone handing a bucket up, I'm not too big to do any job. So it's always something I've had in the plan, and yeah, this is why I've got it around my neck all day. I'm having a buzz really, but yeah, that's why. Yeah. That's what I made this week.
Yeah, I mean, spoke to Lyndon in the week. We did speak about you, and he was like, "Oh, why are we speaking about him before?" And I was like, "Yeah, we got to speak about Sonny Edwards, his last shot out." But look, in terms of Lyndon, this is hopefully a rebuilding fight for him. It is a tough fight against John McIntyre. Potential slip up for him on Friday night. In terms of big 2023 plans, what do you think? I know you can't speak for him, but what type of fights do you want to see him in potentially next? Because domestically, Calla said he's not wasting his time domestically and things like that. I spoke to Lyndon, he'd like to do that sort of route, but he's a world-level fighter, Sonny.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got Yard as well fighting Bertapiev in the early January for the WBO. I mean, if Yard wins that sets up a very interesting, domestic world scene. I mean, they're 1-1 at the moment, and I think at some point the trilogy will just make more sense than most other fights. But yeah, outside of that, I would like to see him sort of push on 4 world titles. I think he's relatively well ranked. He's got like a good reputation. Yeah, okay, his stock might have dropped a bit after the second Yard fight, but Lyndon's a very good fighter. And switched on. He's a hard night's work for anyone. So yeah, I'd like to see him push on for a world title. If not that, one of them big names domestically. There is a few of them. There's a few good profiles on a few good platforms. Lyndon's getting good support from Wasserman, Sal Willens, Channel 5. He's finally got like a stable home that's supporting his career rather than maybe sort of building him if they need him for someone else, which it makes a massive difference in professional boxing. You might not always see it on the outside, but there's a lot of internal things that come with having the favour of the promoter or the house, if it were. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Lyndon back tomorrow. I think he'll look good in this, and yeah, set up a real big 2023. He's been nice and busy. Like I said before, his new promoters have really backed him. He should have been on the Conor Ben Eubank card. Obviously, that fell through. Now out on this, and there's other fight offers already for next year. So yeah, I think he's in a good spot, and yeah, I look forward to seeing him push on.
Really showing your knowledge there in terms of wanting to manage fighters, etc. I don't think many people know and understand the game of boxing more than you at such a young age, Sonny. But look, let's reflect again on that fight out in Sheffield last out. We weren't able to get a 1-to-1 after your fight. How do you reflect on that Sheffield performance?
Yeah, so I weren't really doing interviews after.
No, you weren't. I got one with your brother, but not with you. But anyway, it's time for reflection now. So just talk to me a bit about that fight for you, mate.
Yeah, I feel like we knew what it was sort of going to be like. We knew, well, I knew especially, that it weren't going to be an easy 12 rounds. He was going to pretty much non-stop come, and that's what I got. Very heavy-handed. I mean, he probably tried too hard at times where he weren't really thinking about the effort he was putting in. He was just trying to, break me and break me down, but he found out, like many others have, that it's a very hard thing to do. I'm a lot tougher than I think people give me credit for. I think that fight has probably done, spoke volumes for that side of things. I don't care, or I'm not scared to sit and mix it up with the biggest of punchers in the division. Felix Alvarado was that on paper, the biggest puncher in the division, one of the biggest punches the division's ever had. And I stood there when I needed to, and I traded with him, and I caught, and I countered. And I'm getting more confidence with each fight. I think I won. I think I won clear. I think there weren't no arguments at the end. Bell, who anyone thought won again, which has been the theme for all of my fights so far. And I think now people are really starting to take notice a bit of the consistency of it. And, Alvarado caught me a couple of times. But there was never a time I thought I was flustered. There was never a time I thought I was out of my comfort zone. I thought I was hurt. There wasn't. Genuinely, I felt, even when there was times when I had my back on the rope for about a minute and a half, I was still throwing back. I was riding most of the shots. I was catching most of the shots. I enjoyed it, to be honest. I felt it probably made for a much more entertaining fight. Fighting in front of my home crowd now, my adopted home crowd in Sheffield for the first time, and sort of feeling the sort of energy with the crowd. I think anyone that was actually genuinely there in attendance knows that was a good event, knows that it was a good turnout, and it was a very good atmosphere. So I'm really looking forward to hopefully bringing even bigger fights than myself versus Alvarado, who let's face it, although a very dangerous competitor, a world champion in his own right, only lost at the top level, had more knockouts by some way than I had fights. I feel like I deserve the big fights now. I feel like, again, I've shown that I'm willing to fight anyone, willing to fight who I'm meant to fight next, not trying to step around or not fight mandatories or hard fights, etc. I'm running head on towards all the biggest fights, and yeah, I don't know if beating Alvarado the way I did and even mixing it with him the way I did is going to help that cause, but I don't know, I think at some point everyone's just got to have that big fight, and I'm probably the biggest fight out there. When I get made against anyone, then they're going to fight against each other, and I genuinely believe that.
You feel avoided, don't you, I'm guessing?
I've been avoided my whole career. Genuinely, I think it even started probably in the amateurs when I used to struggle to get fights in the championship. Definitely at every level British. I couldn't defend my British title for 18 months because no one wanted to be a voluntary, let alone put in for a mandatory. I won the world title against probably the most avoided fighter in the division, Maruti. And then, I've looked for the big fights, and I've fought 2 mandatories. I've cleared both of them in Mama and Alvarado. I beat the next highest ranked contender and Wazeem in between that. And now I'm looking for the unifications. I'm looking for the big fights. There's a couple out there that are legit fights outside of just being big for the division. They're big in world boxing. It's just about getting the willing dancing partner.
Yeah, you wanted the fight with Cesar Martinez. He's come out recently and said that the reason why that fight never happened was on your side. Just your response to that, Sonny?
Not everyone knows that's not true. We was there training for it, preparing for it, and then we got the correspondence, the information that the fight's not happening. The fight's not been approved, but that was just because of the financial requests from their side. So then they tried saying there was other fights going on. I'd seen probably about 10, 11, 12 weeks out of when the fight was supposed to be happening. All the the email correspondence that the WBC had approved the fight, the IBF had approved the fight, the mandatories had approved the fight, McWilliams had been arranged step aside, etc., etc. So all of the things that need to happen. So all the boxes were ticked. So the only one that we waited for was Martinez, and they didn't take the fight. I think he even messaged me on Instagram saying that when we do fight, how are you, brother? When we do fight, we need to make the most money and all this stuff. And then come out 4 or 5 weeks after that saying, oh, it was me that pulled out. It just had me scratching my head a bit, because if it was up to me, 22nd of October, we would have fought on that card in Mexico City. That was the plan, and that didn't happen. Why? Because of him. They needed more time in camp. They wanted an easier opponent. He's fighting Samuel Kimona, 8-0, good fighter, but what? He's not unifying. Because of that, I didn't unify and fought my mandatory. Do you know what I mean? Who's a much better fighter than who he's fighting. It's just, yeah, I don't think no one believes him. Maybe some things are lost in translation. I don't know. But it doesn't make sense when it's coming out of his mouth. But yeah, after his fight, I don't know what happens with McWilliams Arroyo pulling out. I don't know what's going to happen with the WBC, but this should have cleared up his mandatory. So the fight should have been easy to make, but I don't know what him fighting Kimona is going to do to that. Whether they're going to have an extension on the injury. But yeah, that's the fight I wanted, but I don't know how realistic wanting it is going to be.
Have you had further discussions with his promotional team at all?
No, I don't really do any of them myself. I mean, I leave that to my team. And yeah, they know we've had conversations where we've told them and let them know what I sort of want, which is, I've said it publicly. I want Bam Rodriguez. Martinez, if something could get made, but because ideally that would probably be the first one I'd want because of how long I've wanted it for. But Bam is probably the fight that I want next. Then another world champion after that. If Eddie can do what he's been suggesting and putting out that he wants to do, like a 4-man tournament, all the champions, myself, Dalakayan, Martinez, and Rodriguez. Just all I ask for is as the number one in all the rankings, the ring, box rec, the trans, national, whatever. As the number one, give me first pick. Who I'd pick Martinez, obviously. But that's all I'd ask. If we got into that, but yeah, I said that I don't mind signing a 2-fight deal to fight, one of them, and then the next one straight after. If there's, if they think they've got more chance of leaving on the top side of 2 fights, and that's fine. I just want the big fights again. Like, I don't say it just because it sounds good. It's boring at this point because I just keep saying it, but I haven't had the big fights. Like, I could sit and make easier fights that I could market, like I could, but it's not really what I want to do. I just want to fight the best fighters, then move weight. Fight the best fighters, then move weight. Fight the best fighters. Like, that's how I'm sort of trying to approach boxing. Just be in the most interesting and genuinely organic good fights rather than, trying to con the public on some half fake build up and just, you know what I mean? It's like get excited for the actual fight because it's 2 quality, high stakes fighters with good records and good names on their record fighting each other. Like, I know I'm a good fighter, so I don't mind putting my unbeaten record, my world title, my reputation on the line over and over again. Yeah, no, I don't mind completely doubling down on it over and over and over again, because I know if someone's going to beat me and beat me fairly, it's going to take a very good fighter, probably an elite fighter, to do so. Like, no one makes me look average, no one makes me look ordinary, no one looks... Like, every single time I get in the ring, I'm in control. Don't matter. I've beaten world champions. I've beaten every single stage. I've done it, and it's looked the same pretty much. Doesn't matter if they're, you know, international level or been world level for years. It's been the same sort of consistent. This is what I do, and no one has come remotely close to solving the problem yet. I don't think.
This is your time, though, to put pressure on Eddie Hearn for this fight. Is there anything you get in terms of him? Anything you want to say to him, basically?
It's funny though, because I don't feel like it's Eddie Hearn that needs the pressure. It's the fighters. I know that Eddie's very interested in working with me and having me on his shows, even if I am the antagonist. Like,
The build-up be fantastic, though. Let's be honest. That's what I'm here for. The build-up be great.
yeah, but he knows I'm a professional. He knows that I turn up when I'm supposed to. I do all my media obligations. I hit the weight that I'm supposed to every single time. I do anything that's needed me in camp. Like, I don't go missing. I don't go, like, I sell and promote the fight as I can. So, and he knows that after it, I will fight anyone again. Like, it's not, like, I'm not in boxing just to sort of scam out a quick buck and get off. Like, I just want to be involved. Like, the money's sort of like a secondary, like, it's like the greatness, it's the legacy genuinely, and just the excitement I get in myself for fighting and how much I enjoy it. It's a big part of my life. So it's not Eddie that needs the pressure. It's the other fighters that people don't want to see the fights that they're getting in. These fighters are happy to rinse out a 5-fight contract, getting slightly better purses each, fighting as easy opponent as possible each time. Because they want to make as much, you know, juice for their squeeze. Like, they want to make as much money for each fight and for risk to be as low as possible and reward to be as high as possible. I don't care for all of that. So I'm an easy person to make a fight with. And I genuinely believe that I am one of the best fighters in the world, pound for pound, weights, ages, everything. I genuinely believe that. Is there the fights out there that could get me close to proving it? Absolutely. There are some high-rated fighters about. At my weight, I could go straight. If I beat Bam Rodriguez and Martinez in the next 12 months, and then went into a next year where I went up weight and then beat a world champion, like think of what that's doing. A lot of people will disagree that I'm capable of doing it, and I don't even want to argue or care to change their mind right now, because I can see why they would see and have their doubts. They haven't got as much of an insight of what I have and how good I am. But when I prove it over and over again, and I answer the doubts and I show everything that they think that I can't do, I can do, then I'm in conversations way past just being a flyweight or a good little guy in boxing. Like, I genuinely think pound for pound I'm one of the best. I think I'm one of the hardest to beat. Okay, I'm not the biggest puncher, but I can control rounds over and over and over and over and over again without even hurting people during those rounds or putting them down in those rounds. Like, there's a lot of fighters that would have lost the fights had they not knocked out people and stuff like that. I don't have to rely on stuff like that. Like, a lot of people think it's less impressive because I go to points all the time. But then people with a more critical eye will think, well, hold on, someone that wins in that manner over and over and over and over again, it's probably more of a safer bet than the person that might have been losing that fight until they knocked him out or had a hard fight. And do you know what I mean? I deliver a consistent method of winning. If you don't just see me on a fight schedule and put Sonny UD in your accumulator, you're killing yourself. Like, that's happened the last 10 times in a row or something. Like, you are killing yourself. Like, that is a banker at this point. So, I'm a safe person to, you know, sort of get behind and be, like, I don't know, bigging up in an interesting fight. Because if I deliver what I've been delivering against someone like Bam, against someone like Martinez, then it blows the head off a lot of people that never thought I could do it at that level, whatever perceived level.
It's odd because you shouldn't have to sitting there now. It feels like you're selling yourself over and over again, and you shouldn't really have to, because your performances in the ring and who you fought, etc., and what you've done, surely it speaks for itself. But you're not getting the fights you should be getting, Sonny.
Yeah, but that's always going to happen when, you know, the division has got some real good fighters in it and some real talent in it, and fighters that could perhaps be existing at other weights if they weren't willing to do the work to get down. Like, that is actually just what happens. But because there's the fights in the division actively, like that people want to see and haven't been cleared up yet, there's still that. Do you know what I mean? There's still like, so even though I'm fighting the best out there that will fight me, I'm a willing opposition, and others in my eyes are sort of avoiding the fights with me. Hopefully that changes next year. There's still all them. Oh, we'll fight Martinez. It's like I'm trying. Like, do you know how many times I've had to like look at a tweet like, I'm trying to do what you're asking me. Well, you're calling me a bum. I'll fight Martinez. You bum. You won't fight him. He'll end your career. Like, I've been trying as well. Like, it's not even like a new thing. Like a newfound. Like, and Bam Rodriguez. Oh, you wouldn't fight him. Like, like. It's more just it's annoying, frustrating than anything, because it's like, if I had my way, I could literally probably sit here, list the next like 8 opponents, and if I did get that run, like, it'd be probably one of the best runs of like a boxer's career ever. But it's just getting them in the ring, which is hard.
Prince Patel as well. Prince Patel has been very active on social media, very much commenting on a lot of your posts as well. Meant to be out very soon. Is that a fight that could be interested into you?
What, Lugman Patel, man? Lugman. Yeah, it's. Do you know what? It's almost annoying hearing his name.
Why is it gone?
This is the person that was amateur until it was my first year in the seniors and turned over like a month or two before the senior ABAs. This is the person that wouldn't spar me when we crossed paths in gyms multiple times, to the point I'm putting gear on, getting in the ring and telling him to get in the ring, and he went in the change room and at like big ages as well. This is the person that got offered multiple times and turned down the fight when I was like 5-6-0 for like 25 grand, which is probably more money than he's made in any of his fights. Like, this is that same person that now I'm world champion and fighting in good fights and for good titles and good purses, etc. Now he wants to know. Like, well, of course you'd want to know now, but like, what have you done outside of get beat for an IBO, which I don't even class a world title, and fight in, you know, midday leisure centres in like Hungary and Budapest and wherever else. Like, it's annoying, but don't get me wrong. With that being said, like, there obviously is some interest for that fight, but no way near more than there would be for Bam Rodriguez or Martinez or even like a genuine good world level fighter. Like, there isn't. Like, we'll see his event that he's fighting in the UK for the first time in 30 fights or whatever it is. We'll see the massive horde of turnout of people. And all I ask is that when you look at that, then that's actually his draw. Like, that's actually what he attracts, what he brings. Like, which it won't be that much. I can promise you, it won't be that much of a turnout. But that is it. So, outside of people just it being a funny fight because I'm involved and they know it to get sold well because also he's involved. Like, yeah, I understand all of that, but that will exist at any time. You know what I mean? Like, right now I'm actually chasing legacy. But if I do get stuck for an opponent by February and none of the world champions want to fight me, maybe before I go up weight, I just do that on a voluntary just for shits and giggles and to build up a fight. And yeah, and like...
Shits and giggles?
Yeah, for literally, like, for content. Like, that's all it would be. I'd stop Patel, like genuinely, like.
So you don't rate him at all in terms of like him as not only a fighter but him as a personality as well. What do you think of those two aspects of him?
Well, he bought into his own WWE like character and he stuck to it. You know, he does the pouting, he does the resetting, he does the repeating the same sort of, I don't know, catchphrases. I guess it is what it is. Like, he's funny at times with the bullshit he comes out with, but I don't find that he's got much charisma. I don't find he's got much intelligence or wit. It's just he repeats the same, I guess, I don't know, shock-inducing things, talking about girth and just on nonsense, to be honest. It's not... He's like a circus act. He's like a sideshow. He's you know, nothing really. He's just trying to build himself on the fight with me. Really, isn't he? Like, what else is he? He's not trying to fight anyone else to get there, is he? So I think that tells you everything you need to know. He didn't want to know all that time ago. And now I'm IBF world champion, and I'm #1 with the ring and box rec, and he's a laughing stock really. But like I said, it would give me an opportunity to do the whole selling a fight, which I've been kind of robbed off so far, because any time I could have half done it, it's not really been able to go off that way. Do you know what I mean?
Sonny, thanks for coming to Boxing Social. Enjoy, obviously, Friday night in the corner of Lyndon Arthur. We look forward to that. Look forward to seeing you in action.
It's Judgment Night on Channel 5. Troy Williamson defends his British Super Welterweight Championship against the pretty boy Josh Kelly. Who wins? Find out Friday, December the 2nd, 9 p.m, live and free on Channel 5.